Let's make fun woodland ephemera using paint and stamps. Hello and welcome to the Treasured Page. I'm Melanie and this is our quiet crafting space. Today I'm looking at my silken stamps. I've got some mushroom stamps here, so it's all about mushrooms today. I've also got some scraps of paper which are coffee dyed or tea stained. They're just some offcuts, ripped bits, and then that was the tea stained paper that we made the other day. Because I did have a little pot of water. I've got a paintbrush. We've got the little tin here for putting paints in, so let's crack on. So for this I'm going to need an acrylic block. Take some that I like the look of initially. These ones are fun, these little ones. And I think, ooh. Okay, let's start with 4 and see how we get on. So it's quite nice to make several. I'm going to use my black archival ink. This is the waterproof one. I don't think you'd need to use waterproof on this one because we're going to be using acrylic paint, so they're not very watery unless you start using a saturated brush. That could move the ink about if you use a water-based ink. So if you have it, use the permanent, and if you don't, see how you get on. Okay. Oh, that one was great. I think we can just sneak those down there. Gosh, they're lovely. I love that. So I've got my mushroom images. They're great. They can be torn out just like that. They don't need to be coloured. But what I will do is just have a little go at this. So I'm going to put some paints down here. I've got a sort of bright ruby red, orange red. Then I've got 2 types of brown. I've got a dark brown and a warm brown. This is the burnt sienna. But I'm using the Amsterdam set here. That one is a olive green, just a neutral grey, titanium buff. And I will just wet the brush a little bit, and I'll start by putting up some colour here, and I just sort of want to mix that in, and then I'm just going to colour it in like that with the paint. If I go over the lines, that's okay, because these could be ones that I cut out. These are quite large, so perhaps it's best to have a smaller brush. I've managed to get glue on my brushes. Right. I should think these are probably brown in real life, but I'm just going to put this colour down, and then if I want to be more realistic I'll put a brown over the top, but I just wanted to have a play and get the red down. So like I said, it doesn't matter if you go outside the lines because you can fussy cut these out afterwards. And then this one looks like it wants to be red. So I'm just going to give these little stamps a red coating, really. Quite fun, nice little relax just to get the paints out. So it could be watercolour paint if you've used a permanent ink, one that's not going to move, a stays on, or a archival. An oil-based one anyway. That won't move with the wet. And so you can just have a bit of fun painting your stamped toadstools, and it's just another way of getting some vibrancy into a project. And it's quite nice because old vintage photographs and things like that used to be painted, hand painted over the black and white, so there's actually quite a sort of a vintage vibe there. I like it. I'm going to do this one as well. And I'm just going to take the opportunity now to apologise for some of the audio. I think some of it's been a little bit quiet in places and loud in the other. And I think the other day when we had the snippet roll, oh my goodness, it took such a long time to upload. I had to delete the video because it came back with a copyright issue on it. And what had happened, my original music that I like to sometimes add and use has been rejected, saying that it's copyright. Well, it comes from a copyright-free stash of audio clips, and so I'm well within my rights to use it. We've got the license and all of those things. But for this particular site where I've got it from, apparently if anybody else on YouTube is using that clip and puts out like a dispute to anybody, not just me, nothing personal, well I hope it isn't, puts out a dispute to anyone who then goes and uses this music, well the music is free to download. So really what it feels like is that there's a local tap of water, and you can all come and have a go and fill your bucket, but it's as if somebody's gone to that and filled their bucket and then said that you can't fill yours because that it's theirs. But it should really be available for anyone who wants to use it. But that it's just, you know, it's an infringement on their copyright because it's promoting whatever they're promoting online. Oh my goodness. So I had to, and I couldn't work out what it was for, because you don't get told. You don't get told why your video's being rejected until quite a lot later. Until the next day I didn't get an email saying it's the music. So there I am thinking, have I said something? Have I put a photograph up that's not quite right or something? And I couldn't think what it was. And anyway, it did turn out to be the audio, the music, little snip of music that I wanted to put while I was doing the sewing image for the snippet roll. I just thought it would be nice, and I always put a nice gentle piece of music, nothing too crazy. And honestly, the only bit of music that it would accept was this rather loud piece of music, and then the volume was wrong, and I was getting so frustrated with it in the end, and I just wanted to get the video up for you all. Because we were announcing the winner. Had I not been doing that, it wouldn't have been quite so pressured to get it up. But yes, anyway, so there's my little rant and moan, and just my explanation for why you might find that there's 8 or 9 videos in the autumn craft and 3 have been deleted. You probably think you've missed out on something. Well, you haven't at all. It was the snippet roll that got uploaded 3 times, and 3 times it came back with a problem because I couldn't work out what it was, so I was altering things, and in the end I got so fed up with it, and it was eating into my weekend, and I just thought, well, we'll have to go with this piece of music because I know it's royalty free and I know there's not going to be an issue because I had the license for it, but it wasn't quite the right vibe to what I wanted for the treasured page. Anyway, I hope that that explains why we were a bit late with the video going up. But there we are. It was just one of those things, couldn't have been avoided. Very strange. I've never had that before. And it was just a little bit, oh dear. Sort of not, I wasn't very happy about it, put it that way, because it takes such a long time to deliver the videos, and after we've spent a long time doing the editing, you just want to get them up and out the way and get on to the next thing, otherwise everything has a knock-on effect and we don't get anything done. I mean, that's not just me, I'm referring to all YouTubers that experience that. So yes, I wasn't terribly impressed, and I thought, oh dear, I don't like that when you feel like you might have done something wrong and you're second guessing yourself. Oh, what have I done? And actually, turns out not a lot. I hadn't done anything wrong really, just somebody taking offence for me using a piece of music that they were already using, presumably completely unrelated to junk journaling, just for some other YouTuber doing something else. But there we go, that happened, and now we've moved on, and I've got access now to more music, and I'll have more time when I've got more time. I'll sit down and I'll find appropriate music for the channel for this treasured page. But yes, I think we might have seen the last of the little music that started and ended some of the videos, although I haven't tried that one, but I'm a bit scared that they'll say the same thing, and I don't want to get a strike or anything for whatever reason. So yeah, I was a little bit feeling a bit worried about it all. So that's what has been going on behind scenes, just trying to work out how to get the audio onto the video without causing anybody to flag anything up. I don't know. Not doing anything wrong. Definitely not. But it was a frustration. And we don't need frustration. We're here to get unfrustrated, not get wound up by it all. So yeah, that's what was happening. And now we are back in the quiet crafting space, just having a lovely time painting, where we feel that makes more sense. Anyway, doesn't matter, I'm here now and we're all here, and we got some lovely little painted images. Well, this is incredibly relaxing. I'm enjoying this. I'll just see if I can add a little drop of colour over on these ones. Just colouring in with a paintbrush really, nothing too taxing, because you can see where you need to go. So these ones I'm just going to put down some of that buff cream colour on this here. So you can have a look at your stamps, if you've got any wooden stamps, rubber stamps, any stamps. Just another way to use your stamps. We've done a bit of painting on them before, but that was only limited to one colour. So this, although we're blanket covering, I think I could get away with doing a few little blobs and just not do it too cartoony, do one big one and then just a little couple of speckles around there, because that would be a bit more realistic. and not make them round. That one's gone a bit funny. I'll come back in with the red in a minute. That's it. It's quite good, isn't it? And then just a few here and there. Just the very tip of the paintbrush. Underneath. And if you don't do too much of it, you probably can still see the black lines through, which is quite good because then you can see the definition. But you could always draw them back in afterwards. I won't worry about drawing them back in. I don't think it needs the I could paint some in, just do some little lines going into the middle. A suggestion. Something like that. Good fun anyway. Just nice, to sit down 20 minutes, see what you can achieve, and after that you can decide whether you want to do more, whether you've had enough, and move on, because it's going to dry quite quickly. Here's the difference. So you've got options. And it's quite nice to have them on that dark brown vintage background of the tea stain. That's quite nice. And this is a quiet craft. I can feel the anxiety over the royalty-free music issue subsiding and melting away as I just have a little go with the paintbrush and the paints. And this could quite easily be a little wash of watercolour paint if you've got that, or children's paints. It could be food colouring, anything with a stain in it. Just having a play. Any acrylic, gouache, even oil paints. I'm only using copy weight paper though, copy paper. So it might be nicer. It could be that if you put it on watercolour paper and stamped onto the sort of the white or cream watercolour paper, you could put a wash of brown over the top and wait for that to dry and then stamp around it. That's an option. This could be brown packaging out of parcels. It doesn't have to be tea stained, it could just be brown craft paper, packaging paper, parcel paper, any recycled paper. So just mix that up a bit over there, and then that's maybe not so exciting, but it's a little bit more natural and realistic. Okay. Maybe more of a chestnut, mushroom chestnut colour. I like this darker over here, so I'm just going over that with this chestnutty brown colour. That's quite nice. And then I think these ones want to be brown over here as well. And you just go around adding the colour where you think it needs to be. And then if you go over the lines, you wait for it to dry and you come in with a different paint and just cover it up. Absolutely such fun. Really good fun. Could sit here and do a whole batch of these. And then of course it could be any stamp and any colours. If you've got a little set of acrylic paints, I keep finding uses for them, so we'll we'll keep dipping into these sort of supplies. Oh, this one's going to be a cut out fussy cut because I've gone a bit wonky there. So I've just mixed that buff in with a little bit of brown, and I'm just sort of dabbing it about, having a nice time, not thinking too much. And then I'm just going to get a lighter colour for under there. I just think it's very effective. Bit of brown, bit of white, off-white, little bit of grey if necessary. Super fun. A bit with a little bit of that lighter colour. I think as you get a bit more confident with it, you can be a bit quicker, but to begin with, it's a learning curve. Especially for me, I'm holding it at a funny angle, but hopefully you can see. I don't want to bring the camera down too far because I forget to put it back up again, and then there we go. And then I'll just bring in a drop of red on the top there. These would go on little pockets and envelopes, wouldn't they? Right, does anything else want anything red? I think we're okay now. Well, this is a craft to just get totally lost into. How lovely is this, just sitting here? So I'm just putting some little dots on the top. And just using the buff colour and the very tip of the point on my paintbrush. And this is how it's looking, so it's just ever so carefully just putting on the little dots, bigger dots, and then some smaller dots. And that just makes it a bit more realistic, and then we just do a bit better up here. And you just play about with it until you're happy that your mushrooms are nicely coloured. Oh guys, these are really sweet, so much fun. I have thoroughly enjoyed that. I'm just going to go and wash the brushes. Okay, here we are. I've started to tear some of them out, and some of them have been torn out with a torn edge and some have had a fussy cut, so I want to show you those. So if I bring them up, we can have a look at all the different looks. So see if I can manoeuvre them without getting my arm in the way. Right, so that one was the one that was on an angle, so that's now like that. And then this one looks absolutely brilliant as a fussy cut. That's a nice torn edge, and that one I haven't quite finished, but I just fussy tore that one out, so that's brilliant. And there they all are. And then this is the sheet, and Again, they can all be fussy cut out as well, but I had thought it was quite nice, maybe, as to put in the journal as a page. So I'm keeping that one to one side. So those are sweet. Okay, so just if you've got some book page, or if you've got the digital kit with the newspaper print on it, the 1800s newspaper, I've just cut a strip out of the A4 paper and folded it in half so that we've got that. And then if we turn that round like that, so you've got that there, and straighten it up along the edge, and then bend that down, that gives us a little pocket. And then we need to just add some glue down there. So that goes up like that. Take the scissors and I'll just snip off the corners to make a little pocket, a little envelope. So that would be in a journal stuck down like that. So what we could do there is something interesting. I've got this washi tape with some leaves on it, that might look okay. And then on the top, cut round. So now we've got the pocket with the all cut and looking good. So fold that down and that's quite nice. Rent wanted at Michaelmas. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to fussy cut this out and see how this might look when it's cut out from the background there. And I'm doing that because this one, I went a little bit over the edges on that lower mushroom, so I'm just going to cut round. There we go. So you can see how that might look, just glued down with nothing else. That's interesting because you've got the black and white, you've got the colour going on there. We can ink round just along the top. And then around that edge as well, so when you fold it down it's a bit aged. Okay, so that's how that will look. So this is how it will appear in the journal, stuck down. Then we could add this in and that would be very nice, and that's all you would need. Or you could put a leaf behind it. So that's really sweet, so you could have a little leaf behind it. Right, so this makes quite a nice pocket, which is 2 3/4 inches by 4.5. 4.5. I've got a frame which could be a label that you then cut the inside out, and I'm just wondering what that might look like if that were positioned there, and make a scene out of it and maybe have the mushroom coming out. And I'll just go round very gently there, just inking round. I think I've got a bit of rusty hinge ink on here because it's coming through with a chestnut warm colour, which is actually really nice. It's a little bit of ink round that one. So I'm just going to glue down this leaf. That's 3 in 1. Just put it off to one side like that. Mushroom's going to go there, and the frame. So we want the frame down, and they're going to sit in there. Little bit of glue all the way around the frame, and then take that and frame the leaf, making sure that we cover it at the bottom.
And before I push that down, I want to just tuck my mushroom, so I'm just going to give that a little bit of glue there. This then tucks into the bottom. And then we can just stick that all down. And then I've just found one of my little butterflies. So taking the ink, I'm just going to remove those white edges. A little bit of glue down on the butterfly. And then a little bit of glue where we're going to have it, because we're going to just add in the texture and then put that on top. And then you could just pull a few bits out the sides. Alright, so we've got this so far. So we've got the little butterfly and the painted toadstools. It's quite thin, nothing sticking out too much. We've got the frame all stuck down, it looks like that. But what I'm thinking is I've got one of these nature description labels, and it says botanise to study plants, and I think that's just excellent. So what I'm thinking is to just stick down some of it. So I'm just going to put glue on the top half, and so it is able to flip up and flip down with the fold at the top. I'm going to stick it like that so it doesn't overhang. I get it on straight. Okay, I'm just going to strengthen this up with washi tape to match in. I've got my ticket here which I'm going to add on, and I think what else I'll have is a sentiment up there, maybe to make that look a bit better. There's one here that says look on the bright side, which I think is appropriate for what I want to journal about today, so I might put that up there. And I'll add some glue on this just for good measure. That's fun. And then that folds down, and I'm just going to add that little specimen snippet there. I'm just going to glue down the lower half of it because this is going to be a closure. These little snippets are from the Field Notes by Tim Holtz. I'm putting it on at a slight angle, and hopefully that should now act as a closure. So we just need to get that to stick down. So let me take the pressure off of it for a minute and hold that in position. And then what I thought this could be, because I'm wanting this mini-series to be about Happy Mail, it could either be a side tuck or it could just be an embellishment that goes straight down on the page. You could have a side pocket as well, and then it flips up here. There's a sentiment there, and this is now the closure. Okay, so you could then put a lovely piece of writing paper in there for somebody to find and use, or what I thought would be really fun, because this is a Happy Mail piece. The mini-series here on my playlist for the Fall and Autumn Crafts is all about Happy Mail and sending things out to people to say thank you. So I had found these little coffee sachets for instant coffee, and if you're sending it out to a fellow junk journaler, they may really appreciate some instant coffee to make their papers, and they could just be tucked in there as a fun find, and then that would all seal down and be a little coffee pouch and something that you could just tuck in your Happy Mail and send off as a lovely thing, or to a really good friend or a family member this fall. So that's perfect for the journal. It's really woodlandy. Anyone doing a woodland journal would probably appreciate that. Make one for yourself, put your secret things in there, writing paper or some nice fussy cuts and things for others to find. Another idea here is a label. This is from Rach and Bella's kit, and or any label that you might have. A little bit of sewing paper scrap, a fabric strip, cut another fabric strip and a piece of vintage lace, and just layer that down like a little cluster on the side, and then just to finish it off, bring in one of our painted toadstools, and that be an interesting something stuck down on a page, whatever you want, tuck pocket, or it could be that could go on an envelope to alter the envelope. It could go on one of these money pockets and be there like that, so that could be fun if you're gifting to anybody and you want to just pop in a gift card or a little bit of money or something like that might be fun. Maybe reduce the size of that, or just going into a journal. And I just think these are ways in which you could bring these painted stamps in and just be a perfect little embellishment. So there's 2 ideas there. I'm sure we can think of more, but for today I think we'll leave it there and just sort of have a think about how they look on book page, and just how they're just so effective, and especially if they've been painted on some junk paper that's got creases and crinkles in it. It's absolutely great, and you could have a cluster of them. Load of toadstools popping out all over the place, and just, you know, just ideas. But that's what we've come up with today. So that's the difference there. Different looks. And whoops, fabulous. So the next thing to do would be to put them in an ephemera holder and pull them out when we're ready. So I've got my little something folder holder here. I'm going to just add them in. I'll probably stick that one down. I quite like that composition, but look, don't they look cute? And then you can have a whole section of toadstools, you could have birds, you could have butterflies. Let your imagination go wild, and I'd love to see your pictures and images of your painted stamps. So there we are, that's what we've been up to today. So painting and decorating and illustrating our own stamps. So they look like they're fussy cuts from a vintage book, but they're not really. It was half an hour of relaxing fun, and then a whole world of possibilities for lots of interesting ephemera to be made, and book pages, and just one of those in the corner of one of your pages would be perfect. So there we go. It makes it nice and easy. You haven't got to think. You don't need to be a fantastic artist. All these little painting techniques are there to be had. It's just colouring in with paint. So I hope you've enjoyed that, guys, and I hope you come back with some really intricate ideas for your autumn and fall crafts, and I will be back very soon with the next video. Until then, have a wonderful week, and above everything else, just slow down and make crafting time for you. Bye bye now.